You ready?
Legion of loyal listeners and Wildcat fans, it's the Mike and Rob Experience, season number 6, with our senior showcase fall preview here at River Falls High School. First of all, give a little round of applause for our panel up here. We want to thank the First National Bank, who recently updated their sponsorship for 4 more years on YouTube TV. Coach Kaley, good evening.
Good evening.
Olivia, Haley, Danny, Bryn, Maddie, and Kinsley, how are you? I'm doing outstanding. Thank you for asking. All right, Coach, why don't we get into you a little bit here? Season number 12. How about a little background about where you came from and how you ended up at River Falls in season number 12?
I grew up in Muncie, Indiana, which is a hotbed for volleyball in the Midwest. And I played my high school years at Muncie Central for Dave Shondell, who's the head coach at Purdue now. So was exposed to a lot of good coaches at an early age, and was fortunate for that experience to pick some stuff up from all of those. Coach Sheffield, who's at Wisconsin, was a part of our club. Coach Skinner, who just won a national championship at Kentucky. So I got to learn from some of the best. Then I went to the University of Illinois, and I played both middle and right side there for 4 years. Graduated with a degree in sports management, and I coached college volleyball at Ball State University for a season under Randy Litchfield, and then decided to get my teaching degree. And about 5-6 years down the road, I'm in River Falls and getting to be a part of this program.
You're a veteran.
Something special.
12 years, long time.
12 years, it is a long time.
All right, you got 6 seniors to your left. Do you want to introduce each one of them for us, please?
Yes, I've got Olivia Redmond right next to me. Olivia's
Tinkerbell.
a setter. What's her nickname?
Tinkerbell.
Tinkerbell, all right. Olivia's a first-year varsity player for us and has really impressed me over the years because she's just really committed to just constant growth. She came in as a freshman and wasn't quite sure what position she was going to be or what she wanted to play. And I think she found her niche at setter and is really just, like I said, committed to improving. I've got Haley Gretz next to her. Haley is a 4-year varsity player for me. What's her nickname?
She's the Hailstorm.
The Hailstorm, yep. I just wanted him to announce you. I didn't forget you.
No.
Haley played middle for me for the first 2 seasons and then switched to the outside last year and really is missing being in the middle. She moved back throughout the club season and said how much she enjoyed it. So that's where Haley will be for us this season.
Big news recently, Haley?
Yeah, I'm going to George Mason University.
George Mason University, congratulations.
Next to Haley is another 4-year varsity player. That's Danny Lean. Danny came in as outside on a team that was pretty stacked and kind of waited her turn until her sophomore season, and then blew out her knee and had 2 knee surgeries in 1 year on meniscus repair, and came back last year in a different role for us as libero. So it's exciting this year to see her back getting to hit the ball again. So Danny's playing outside for us this season. Next to her is Bryn Johnson. Bryn is long and lean and reaches high and hits the ball hard. Bryn's nickname is?
The Bronco.
The Bronco. Oh, you didn't say Danny's.
She's the machine.
She is the machine. So Bryn the Bronco, outside hitter for us. This is her 2nd year on varsity. Last year being not a traditional year, so we're excited to get her through a full season at that high level of competition. Then I've got Maddie Deary. We call Maddie Gertrude because she's like a little old lady. And I have so many Maddies on my team. Every year I've had multiple Maddies. So we call her Gert. And Maddie
we call her the Daredevil.
The Daredevil, yeah. That's a little more intimidating than Gertie.
Oh, yeah.
Maddie started off on our roster as a defensive player, and then due to injuries last season, she became a 6th rotation right side for us. And after an awesome club season where, again, she got to learn and grow, she's going to be a fun player to watch. And on the far end, I've got Kinsley. Kinsley is a 1st-year varsity player for us.
She's the ball girl.
The ball girl. So funny story about Kinsley. Can I share it? Okay. So prior to tryouts, Kinsley had a dream that I cut her and I didn't take her on the roster. And instead of asking her to be the manager because she's so little, that I asked her if she would want to be a ball girl instead. So it was the running joke with the team. Kinsley is super fiery. Again, kind of like Liv, kind of waited her turn, just getting better year after year after year to where she can make this varsity team and contribute for us. So she's like a little water bug in the back row. She just moves all around.
Water bug?
Yeah.
I got Rob Derry behind the camera, too. The Mike and Rob Experience is here. Thanks, Rob. All right, girls, get to know you a little bit. Why don't you guys take turns passing the microphone here, share a little bit about maybe some of your other activities, sports, maybe your volleyball resume, when you got started, what you've been doing, maybe a little bit about your families if you'd like to share that. The Legion wants to get to know you guys more than you could ever imagine.
So my name's Haley. I play volleyball and track. I have 2 older brothers.
Yes, you do.
I have 2 dogs.
And your mom is a volleyball alum.
And my mom is a volleyball alum. She played track at NDSU.
Yep.
Class 89 pride.
And yeah, I kind of got my volleyball skills from her, so thank you.
Thanks, Mom. All right, pass the mic. Who's next?
I'm Olivia. I used to do track, soccer, basketball, pretty much everything in the book, but I quit all of them. And I have 2 sisters. I have a twin sister who looks nothing like me, blonde hair, blue eyes. I have 3 cats, and that's about it.
My name is Danny. Before volleyball, I was a dancer, like competitive dancer for like 10 years, which is like super opposite of volleyball. But it just wasn't competitive enough. That's why I decided to play volleyball and basketball until about my freshman year when I quit basketball and decided just to do volleyball. And then I ran track as well until my knee injuries. And then I decided that maybe I should give them a break and not run track. And my family, I have a little younger brother. Well, not so little anymore, actually. And I have 2 dogs. One of them is my new quarantine dog. And she is now our family hunter, which is thanks to my dad.
Thanks, Mike.
And yeah, that's it.
My name is Bryn Johnson, and I've started volleyball in like the 7th or 8th grade, and I've kind of always played basketball. My family is
Quite tall.
Yeah, my dad played at Creighton, and then he played at Eau Claire, and now my brother plays at Eau Claire, and I also have a younger brother, and he's not so little either. I'm like the shortest one in my family right now. And yeah, I played basketball, but then I quit because I just wasn't very good. And then I've done track in the past and a few other sports that weren't really for me, so I kind of stuck to volleyball, and it's been fun.
I'm Gertrude. My first 2 years of high school, I played volleyball, basketball, and track. And then last year, I quit basketball, which seems to be a running theme for this group.
That's what your sister just said.
And then I high jump in track. That's probably my best event. I made it to sectionals. And I have 2 sisters. One's an alum. And I have a dog and chickens.
Any news about your track season from last year?
Oh, I hit 5. I finally got 5 foot, which was a goal of mine, and now my dad has to get a tattoo.
There you go.
A 5 on his
Congrats.
foot. So, I'm Kinsley O'Boris. I think I've played volleyball since 4th grade. I used to do gymnastics competitively, but then that wasn't for me at all. My family is just my parents, and I have an older sister who goes to the University of Kentucky and does gymnastics there, and then a younger brother. That's pretty much it.
All right, you multi-sport athletes, talk a little bit about the challenges of trying to balance school and sport, and
I think,
or maybe it's not a challenge for you, Gertie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've done it. I think I'm just not used to not always being in a sport. Like, I've always been in one, so I don't know what it's like to not be in one, and I've just kind of learned to manage it fairly well.
I would say the one thing I've noticed about not only these girls, but the girls I've had over the years, is that they're all really good students. So they've committed to being organized enough to have time to do their schoolwork and time to practice, and still have a social life outside of that, maybe, I don't know. But this team, and traditionally, Wildcat Volleyball, I just have really good kids in the classroom that know how to get it all done. So I'm not surprised that they're able to multitask and not only do multiple school sports, but also club volleyball on top of that.
Anyone else? Multi-sport, juggling, challenges?
I think just finding like a balance like with your time management is really key because like volleyball demands a lot of your off time, so like that doesn't leave a lot of room for school. So I think
Volleyball or your coach of volleyball? Demands a lot of time.
Volleyball.
Good answer.
So I think just like really focusing on doing what you can like in school and during the time that they give you so that you don't have to use that off time to like cram and stress about it is like really key.
All right, anybody else? Last year, the lost year is what Rob and I Rob titled it. You guys had 12 total matches. You went 11-1 compared
13.
to 45. Pardon me?
13.
13.
Yeah.
13-1. I stand corrected. What were some of your struggles, strengths, right? I mean, Sarah and I are both teachers. We've got kids in school trying to get through and navigate COVID and all the changes and some positives that might have come out of it. I feel in education we saw a few positives that should move forward, maybe some hybrid stuff. And
I think the hardest part was just keeping them all from getting knocked out of school due to close contact, because it's impossible in a school environment to really keep the kids 6 feet apart. I mean, naturally, they're social. They're at that age where they all want to gravitate toward each other. As a teacher, I don't know how many times I can stand in the hallway and say, you guys need to spread out. That's not who they are. So that was one thing I always worried about. Not so much them getting COVID, but I mean, Bren got knocked out for 10 days because she was sitting at a lunch table with somebody who tested positive. So that was really hard because in a short, condensed season where you're not playing a lot of matches, nobody wants to miss. And that's where we were at by default, not because of anything she did wrong.
challenges, girls, socially, anything? School?
Sorry, Danny. I think a challenge for like in volleyball season was like not having a student section, not having fans, so you had to create your own energy, and that was a challenge with masks even being on because you were just so gassed from playing. And then a positive for me was hybrid learning. I like the independence of it.
Good.
So.
I think one of the challenges was because Sarah's such a planner, and it was kind of like you had to take things like day by day because it was so crazy. Like one day someone else was out, and another day someone was getting tested, so it was like, oh, we don't know. But I think just like
we learned to be flexible.
Yeah, we
even
really
if you
did.
don't want to be.
We learned to be really flexible and like communicate, I guess, a lot.
Go ahead, Bren.
Sorry. One of the biggest challenges for me was practicing with a mask on just because you were, I mean, especially without having fans, you were, I mean, during practice, it was a different environment just because you couldn't communicate as loud and your mask would get like wet and soggy and disgusting.
Yeah.
And then like when we got to state and we actually had a student section and people cheering for us, like we couldn't really hear anything, and it was crazy to go from 0 to 100.
Yeah. The girls thought it was funny because I'm super uptight about everything being in our storage cage in its spot, and it has to be, and they're responsible for that. So last year there were so many fires that we were constantly putting out that at the end of practice I would say, just throw it in there. So I had to sit them down and say, okay, this is the year after COVID. We're going to have to be organized again. So I think they enjoyed that I wasn't quite as uptight about things. I had too many other things to worry about.
What will the first home match feel like with a packed student section?
Pass those mics down. I want to hear Olivia and Haley.
The first match is definitely going to be crazy because I think all like the fans who weren't able to come to the past games are going to want to come out and see. So I think we're just going to have a lot of energy, and I know we're all super excited for it already, so I couldn't be more excited for it.
Record attendance, maybe?
Hopefully.
Good. All right, Coach, 2021 motto. What is it? How do you come up with it? And what's it mean?
Well, our motto for this season is one. So you can see our shirts. We've got the year of 2021. I sat down with the returners back in March, and I just said, one means a lot of things to me. Like we're one team, and that team needs to be bigger than every single individual. So it can't be about what you want for yourself. It has to be what's best for this group as a whole. And I think when we focus on one play and kind of like those small details instead of that bigger picture, it really helps us to find success because just the momentum, one really good defensive effort, which is what they say they want to be about, can change the direction of a rally or a set or a match. So, yeah, we're taking it one step at a time.
One step at a time. All right. How well do you girls know each other? I changed it. I did 2 lies and a truth. I do things a little backward. That's kind of my organizational style.
That was baffling to all of us because we're like, no, it's 2 truths and a lie. And
It's
you're
what
like,
I
no,
want to
he
make
said.
it to be. So today it's going to be 2 lies and a truth. I'm going to read the 3 statements. You guys will raise your hand 1, 2, or 3 of which one you think is the truth. Bryn the Bronco Johnson, these are your 3 statements. My cat died when I was 3. I have always lived in River Falls. I played t-ball. So which one do you think is her truth? 1, 2, or 3?
Which one's the truth?
Yep, which one is the truth? My cat died when I was 3. I've always lived in River Falls, and I played t-ball. Raise your fingers, panel. Bryn, what is your truth?
My truth is that I've always lived in River Falls.
Oh.
How old were you when your cat died?
My cat's never died.
She's hanging on.
If it's going to be a truth, it might as well be a good truth, right?
She's on the edge.
All right. Olivia Redmond Tinkerbell, here's your 3 statements. My favorite candy is Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
That's a good one.
2, I lived in Wisconsin my whole life. 3, my favorite place I've traveled is New York City.
That's true.
What is Olivia's truth?
No.
Olivia, which one is your truth?
My favorite place I've traveled is New York City.
What's your
knew
second
that.
second favorite place you've traveled? Ellsworth?
What's your favorite candy if it's not Reese's Peanut Butter Cups?
Like Hershey's.
Oh, okay. You just like straight chocolate?
Yeah.
All right, Hailstorm, you're next. Your 3 statements. My biggest fear is drowning. My favorite place to go on vacation is Cabo San Lucas. Your 3rd statement, I want to travel the country in a Volkswagen van when I'm older. Which one is Haley Gretz's truth? Coach?
Well, I was going to say she likes Cabo, but I think they know something I don't.
Haley, what is your truth?
That I want to live in a Volkswagen van.
You want to live in a Volkswagen van.
Just for a little bit.
Well, how long's a little bit? Like a day? A couple months?
3 years.
3 years. Have you ever been in a Volkswagen van before?
No.
Why a Volkswagen van?
Because I can travel wherever I want to go. And I can just like pull it up on the beach and just,
In Cabo San Lucas.
no, because I could get it there.
You could get there.
I could,
I could cross the
I'm
border.
a very good driver, if you didn't know.
Well, you took my van Friday.
know.
I heard good things.
I heard good things.
All right, Danny
Pass
the
those down.
Machine Lean, your 3 statements. I know how to drive a stick shift. My biggest fear is heights. My dad has a Pegasus tattoo.
I don't know, Mike. I mean,
Mike, do you want to come up and show? What's your truth, Danny?
My dad does, in fact, have a Pegasus tattoo.
Danny, what is the meaning behind your dad's Pegasus tattoo?
I'm not really sure. No one is.
No one knows? All right,
that's
Gertie.
another show, Mike.
Yeah, that's another show. Why your tattoo? All right, Miss Daredevil, Maddie Derry, your 3 statements. I have a rare eye color. I was born in Fox Lake, Illinois. My middle name was chosen after an NFL running back. What is Maddie's truth?
What do I have to say?
Maddie
I have a rare eye
Brett
color.
Derry, would you like to share your truth?
It's green. Yeah. So
It
I have
is.
a
It's
rare
Liz
eye
Conlon.
color. It's green.
You have a rare eye color, green? It's rare.
It is. I know.
You have a very rare eye
My
color
eyes are green
too?
as well.
All right, last but not least, 2 lies and a truth. Ball girl, are you ready? Your 3 statements. I know how to change a tire. I met Olympic gymnastics. I've met Olympic gymnasts.
Yep.
One time, the lady waxing my eyebrows messed up really bad to where I couldn't go in public.
So specific, I have to go.
What is your truth?
I can change a tire.
Oh!
I've never got my eyebrows waxed.
You've never gotten your eyebrows waxed.
That was so detailed, though. I would have.
I got you all.
Yeah.
Most of you.
All right, girls, some of you guys have been around for a long time. We got some 4-year starters. What does the YouTube mean to your family? Danny, we got Nodak Nation. You bring a whole bunch of people coming in. what does the YouTube, right? And I try to explain to you guys, I explained to Morgan and my daughter Maddie, this is a very, very rare volleyball program. If you look at what an average high school volleyball program looks like, it's not this. And we'll get into some of that stuff next. We added this, Rob and I are doing season 6. I think we've been doing this around here for maybe 8 years. Obviously, people talk to me, what's my nickname going to be? And they want to know that kind of stuff. And Rob and I sit down one day and we take about 4 seconds and your nicknames are created. This year it was on our broadcasting camp to the Boundary Waters Canoe area. Tinkerbell, you were the first one. It came up really clean. So what does the YouTube mean? I mean, I know a lot of you guys, when you come up and do your interviews and all that stuff, we give shout outs and I'll have to speak. I'm just curious what it means to some of you.
I mean, I'm super grateful and appreciative towards it because my entire family lives in North Dakota, which is where the Nodak Nation comes from. And I know they all really enjoy watching, and it kind of binds that connection because, I mean, they can't drive the 5 or 6 or 7 hours here to watch all my games or even a few of them. So I think it's just really awesome that they get to watch, and it's like fun for them to watch.
I think we're super lucky, especially to have you guys, just because, like, especially during COVID, a lot of people, people weren't able to. What?
Yeah, they weren't allowed to come, so that's the only way people could watch.
Yeah, so we're super grateful for you guys. Plus, you make it super fun, and I mean, we got some pretty cool perks that come with the YouTube channel, like this.
Yeah.
So.
Senior Showcase, fall preview show.
Oh, yeah.
I think these are great life skills, too. I've always said sports is about so much more than volleyball, but to have to be able to ask questions and have people listening to you and be able to communicate. And these girls are going to go into job interviews and be, adults at some point. So to have to go up and do an interview with you after the game, and I know they're all nervous to do it, but
I make them nervous.
The more you do it, the easier it gets. I mean, Abby can attest to that. Like, by the time you've done it a couple times, it just puts them in a better position down the road to be good communicators.
All right, soak this all in, all you people here. We're talking about average high school sports programs. You've been the Section 1 champs 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. That means we went to the state tournament. You're the Big Rivers Conference champs 2016, 17, 18, 19, and /20. You've had 32 consecutive Big Rivers Conference wins. You have 63 consecutive home wins dating back to, correctly now, September 17th of 2015. What of these make you the most proud and or nervous? Ooh.
Everybody's passing the mic. Are you more nervous about a conference win streak or a home win streak, or does it not make you nervous?
It doesn't make me nervous.
Yeah,
I know we're going to win.
I got to tell you, when I sat the girls down and I said, our theme is won, and Haley goes, W-O-N, like we won, don't bother playing us. And I said, no, like the number one. It's not something we talk about because, again, we're trying to focus on smaller things instead of big pictures. So it's one of those things where we don't discuss it. It's not, I don't feel like it's the elephant in the room. I don't feel like it's something that we're worried about. I think that we just focus on the process of what we need to do in that match to be successful. So I'm very proud of it. When you say we haven't lost since September of 2015, that's really impressive. And it's not like we haven't had good teams coming through the gym. So I'm proud of it, but I'm not afraid of it.
Anyone else? Were you aware of all those? Were you aware of all those great stats? No. No, you're not even aware of it?
See.
That's when you get old. These are the things you think about all the time.
Yeah.
All right, Coach. Off that then, since 2010, you've put out 40 Big Rivers Conference players, and honorable mention, first team, second team. You've put out 14 all-state players. Mm-hmm. I remember 12 long years ago when you first got here that the River Falls volleyball program was quite a struggle.
Yeah?
Did you have this vision to build the program? Did you?
No, I just really enjoyed working with kids and teaching them volleyball because I love volleyball. So when I got to come in and some of those kids in this first year, Kaley Frady and Zoe Barr, and they were just good kids that were eager to learn. They just wanted to be taught, and they thrived in the structure and having expectations, and over the years it just kind of kept rolling and developing, and the more kids that were playing and getting excited about volleyball, the more they wanted to play in the off season as well. And as that happened, they came back to me better than they left. And yeah, it's just kind of continued, the momentum's continued to roll.
You remember the question I asked you year one?
What do you want to be known for? And I said, ball control. And ironically, I don't feel like that's what we've been known for a couple years. It's been
What?
It's been a lot of offense.
Ball girl will change that.
Yeah, when I set the kids down and they said the two things this season that they felt like they could do is have consistent high energy and defensive effort. And like Nikki and I were talking today at practice, those are two things that are always within your control. Like you can always give a great defensive effort and you can always control your energy level. We went to a scrimmage this weekend in Appleton, and I don't know how much I'm getting ahead of you, but we played really well against Howard's Grove, who's a super scrappy, small team, but they're really good. Their libero's committed to Wisconsin already. We had a good energy and a good effort, and I felt like we controlled that match. We can't keep score, but I felt very good about what we were putting out on the floor. We played Luxembourg Casco next, a little bigger, a little more athletic. And toward the end of that one, we could kind of feel our energy fading, and then we went into our third scrimmage, which was against Appleton North. Very different from Howard's Grove. I mean, they've got a right side that's 6'6". They're consistent 6'2", 6'1". They're big at the net. Our energy was totally flat, and we weren't pursuing the ball. And it's one of those things where you can call timeout. I really wasn't. I was kind of letting the kids figure it out and just giving them some direction. But I actually stopped, and I said, we need to get together and talk about it. And I said, is this what you say you want to be about? And they're like, no. And I'm like, well, you can control that then. You have to change it. And as soon as they did, we were an entirely different team. So it was great to see that high level of competition and what it looks like against that competition when we do what we say we want to do and what it looks like when we don't, and to know that that's 100% within our control.
Olivia, Kinsley, what do you think of scrimmage number 1 at the varsity level?
I was nervous,
Scale of 1 to 10, how nervous?
like an 8.
Uh-huh.
But then I just didn't have to think about it, and then it got a little better.
Jump in, fit in pretty quick?
Huh?
Fit in pretty well once you got over the nerves?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Good. Olivia, how was the scrimmage for you?
It was really fast paced, but we've been practicing that and I've been expecting it, so it was good to kind of jump in and use all the skills that we've been working on and see where we need to improve from there.
Every single one of those girls their first year said the same thing you did. Mm-hmm. It's very fast. Then they kind of get the handle of it. All right, Coach, players, 2021, we're kind of going into a normal year, we hope. Full slated schedule, right? All the big tournaments are back, all that stuff. What do we got going on this year? What's the team look like? You got a few of the younger underclassmen over here. What's the goals? What's the expectation level?
Well, our goals are always the same. We always want to win conference, and we always want to be back at the state tournament competing for a title. It's nice to have our schedule back to normal. You know, last year was just really weird. We didn't have a complete conference because Memorial and North weren't playing in the fall. They opted into the spring. So we had to play every BRC school twice. And that's not where we get the bulk of our competition. So not being able to go to weekend tournaments hurt us last year. And I know it was weird for everybody. So, you know, talking to the Appleton North coach, they opted into the spring. He wanted to play in the fall, but that's what their district decided. So it was a struggle for all teams. I'm happy that we get to play at the Sproul next weekend in Menominee. I'm happy that we get to go to Marshall and play some of Minnesota's best teams and back to the Charger Rally because that's where, like I said, we really get our competition. We've got an improved BRC look. We're playing in an event tomorrow over in Chippewa Falls. They're young and athletic, and they've gotten better, and Hudson as well. So I think our conference level will be a little different this year, and that's exciting for us. We picked up some non-conference matches with Stillwater and Woodbury and St. Croix Falls. So I think we'll be seeing some good volleyball.
Outstanding. Last question for you, kind of, Coach, before we wrap it up. And if anybody has questions, we'll take all your questions here soon. Coaching staff, Sarah, why don't you talk a little bit about your coaching staff this year, what they mean to you, some of their roles that they help delegate from you?
It was really hard last year not having Fred, just because he and I had coached together for so long. So 10 years together, and that was our first season. But he picked a good time to get out because that stress would have just been a little much for him, don't you think? So last year, Sophie had to pick up a lot of some of the roles and responsibilities that Fred had. We weren't allowed to travel together. So even Allie coaching the JV, she would go to Chippewa. We would have to wait, 30, 40 minutes. And then we would be driving to Chippewa. She's playing, and then she's got to leave right away. I didn't even get to see any of the other teams play. That's how weird last year was. So this year we wanted to reorganize it a little bit. So Allie is coaching our gold team. So they've got a bit of a reduced schedule, and so she will also be working as a varsity assistant coach. We lost Sophie after last season because she got a big girl job, so she's at 3M now and has started it. She did come in the gym the other day, and it was so good to see her, but that's been a lot of years of Fred and Sophie and I kind of being together that's not there anymore. So Allie's going to pick up some of that responsibility in that role. Coach Melissa Berner is with the blue team again this season, so she's been a staple on our coaching staff for years, and it's nice to have that consistency. We picked up a new JV coach with Angie Peterson, who was coaching some club ball, and Morgan actually was coaching a summer league team with her, and she's like, I'm working with this coach, and I think she might be a good fit. So she lives in Osceola, she works at Best Buy, but she's really excited to be a part of our staff, and I've been really impressed with her thus far. And then as a varsity assistant this year, somewhat part-time just because of logistics, but Nikki Higley has joined our staff, so I know the girls were really excited about that. A lot of them have played for her in the past through club, and she played at Penn State a year ahead of me when I was at Illinois, so we know a lot of the same people, and have just known each other for years, so it's nice to have somebody that can come in and just say, like, hey, tell me what you're thinking here, and did you ever think about it this way? And just give me a different perspective, because I think you need that as a coach, just to have somebody else kind of see it through their lens.
A couple of years ago, I did a bad thing to poor Nikki. She came down and joined Rob and I for the North Branch match, and I did some due diligence that the same coach that she played for in '96 in Penn State, Russ Rose, is still there. So I told Nikki in the broadcast that due to Sarah's connections, I was able to contact Russ and ask him some questions, all made up, all lies. So I'm telling her all these things that
But they
Russ,
were things that he might actually say, so she totally fell for it.
So she's like, oh, wow, and she's kind of getting teary-eyed, and she's like, I can't believe he remembers who I am, and this and that. And Rob and I get done, and we go down to our post-game festivities, and I go to Rob and Wolfman. I said, geez, I think Nikki really was buying it. They're like, no, you got to tell her it was all made up. So she came down. I'm like, I'm so sorry, but I made up all the stuff Russ said about you. So
Yeah.
All right, Legion, that's here. Girls, any questions for our panel? Hi, Renee.
Taylor wants to know how these girls deal with adversity.
Oh, good question, Taylor.
I do what Jenna Hooper does.
You drink a lot of water?
Drink a lot of water.
Anyone else? Questions? All right, Coach, girls, thank you very much. Our first YouTube will be the final match on Saturday down from UW Stout campus, and then I'll put together the schedule on River Falls Sports for the rest of the year.
I will say to anybody that's watching, the day prior to our matches, we'll have our featured player on there with the link to the match, so you'll know who's going to be interviewed afterwards, so it's not a surprise to them. And we've got our little short player videos again. So
Of course, the featured
That's
highlight
exciting.
Wildcat players are back.
Yep.
All right, so Coach, girls, thank you very much. I hope you have a great season. We are the Mike and Rob Experience, season number 6. We want to thank the First National Bank for all their support and sponsorship.